A pleasant good morning and welcome to Newsnet on OKFM 99.5, a production of the News and Current Affairs Department at OK Communications Incorporated. Today it's Wednesday, the 30th day of May 2018. My name is Augustine Kollie. Here are the top stories. President Yeahgar heals the cries of Liberians, mandates reduction in tariffs of significant goods entering the country, warning to deal with dishonest people who attempt to profiteer. Eaters of Exxon deal morning demanded to pay back or else. Initial investigative committee report commence. Liberty Party's political leader Yomble Kanga Lawrence's husband, Representative Ada Lawrence, caught in the web again. Thrown out for inability to pay rent, dramatic scenes at LIBERIA Institute for Public Administration saw sheriff close entity upon court's order as staff and students washed in disbelief and shame. And away from Liberia, Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari would approve a new law to reduce age limits in political office, which could make it easier for younger candidates to run in next year's election. The News Bulletin, the voices of those behind the notes. Your comments are all packaged. Stay tuned after this break. Thanks for rejoining us. Let's now join Terry Wholquoi Yeahgar to bring us the News Bulletin. Good morning, Yeahgar.
Good morning, Augustine. Good morning, everyone. President George Weah has approved a new schedule which reduces tariffs on a wide range of commodities being imported into the Liberian market. The new tariff regime was submitted to the President by the Liberia Revenue Authority Commissioner General Alfreda Tambat in keeping with an earlier mandate within 72 hours. The schedule takes immediate effect and makes reduction ranging from 81 to 40% in over 2,000 widely consumed commodities. The plenary of the House of Representatives has mandated its leadership committee to work with the executive branch of government in the implementation of findings surrounding the Global Witness report. Recently, the international watchdog Global Witness accused some past and present officials of government who received bribes during the NOCA arrangements. The decision of the House of Representatives followed a copy of the initial report of the Special Presidential Committee on the recent Global Witness allegations on the National Oil Company of Liberia by President George Weah to that body. The communication read by the House's Chief Clerk, Matrix Science, suggested several recommendations, including the formation of an independent committee to ascertain why NOCA, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Liquor Department, Ministry of Mines and Energy, among others, did not provide proper documents surrounding the happenings. Several students and officials, including the executive director of the Liberia Institute of Public Administration, were on Tuesday thrown out of their offices on the order of the Death Court of Liberia. LIBERIA, which is headed by former Montserrat County District 3 Representative Bill Twawe, owes over $100,000 to a Lebanese businessman as rental fee for the building currently occupied. The immediate closure of the Liberia Institute of Public Administration is stemmed on a ruling by the Death Court in favor of a Lebanese businessman, which gave a 21-day ultimatum to LIBERIA to pay the amount of approximately $102,000 as rental fee. The Liberian Immigration Service has arrested a Nigerian national for being in possession of 2 passports. Chuwuma Obi was arrested at the Rabat International Airport on May 28 while he was about to leave for Nigeria. According to the Liberian Immigration Service report, Obi was quizzed and searched by immigration officers and was later found with Liberian passport bearing James Kollie name. A writ of summons has been issued on Benedict Rees of the Presidential Task Force. A writ which should have been served on the 25th of May was not served for reasons allegedly refused when he allegedly refused to sign. According to the sheriff who escorted the writ, Captain Larry Gamunyo, Rees had told him to take the writ to 6 floors where the president's office is located. The deputy chaplain at the House of Representatives, Reverend Alonso Duncan, has warned Liberia against granting citizenship to non-African descendants. Reverend Duncan, in his devotional reading to that August body Tuesday, added that such was not timely for Liberia. According to him, for too long the black color has been humiliated by other colors, especially the white. He added that Liberia's quest for development is not based on granting white citizenship. The prelate maintained that Liberia's backwardness is due to the lack of patriotism, corruption, and bad governance. Workers of the Liberian broadcasting system have resolved to stage an indefinite go-slow action in demand of better welfare. The go-slow action, according to a release, will commence Monday, June 4 in the city of Painesville. According to a release issued Tuesday in Monrovia, the decision for the go-slow action was reached Monday following a massive gathering of workers of the national broadcaster. Workers of LBS, in a 4-count resolution for the go-slow action, are demanding salary increment, more budgetary support to enable the system perform to its statutory mandate, conducive working environment, transportation, and for the merit system to be exercised at the entity. House Speaker Dr. Buffer Chambers has acknowledged the constitutional breach surrounding the holding of 2 senatorial by-elections in Montserrado and Bond counties. Speaker Chambers' acknowledgement is in the wake of a communication from President George Weah to that body to reset a new date for the conduct of the elections not later than July 31 this year. The setting up of a new date follows the climax of the stipulated 90 days for the conduct of a by-election for a vacant seat following death, resignation, impeachment, and election to another post. It can be recalled Liberians during the 2017 representatives and presidential elections elected both Senators George Weah and Jewel Howard Taylor as president and vice president, thus creating 2 vacancies in Montserrado and Bond counties respectively. Amidst their election pending the conduct of the senatorial by-elections, the National Elections Commission had initially complained about the lack of funds to hold the elections, thus requesting a new date by the legislature. But Speaker Chambers, in an acceptance speech of the president's request, added that it was a constitutional mandate for the legislature to act. Meanwhile, Montserrado County District 10 Representative Yeahgar Kollie has called for an apology from President Weah for what he calls a violation of the law. The opposition Unity Party has warned lawmakers elected on the party ticket to avoid compromising the Eton financing loan agreement currently before the legislature. Speaking Tuesday on the Orchid Morning Watch via mobile phone, Unity Party spokesman Mo Ali noted that any lawmaker from the Unity Party found showing lapses within the loan agreement will be expelled immediately from the party. He said the Unity Party would not tolerate their lawmakers who were elected to serve in the interest of the people to do things that are counterproductive to their survival. But in response, one of the Unity Party lawmakers, Francis Dopo of Electoral District 3, River G County, turned the UP spokesman assertion as in the wrong direction. Representative Francis Dopo wants Mo Ali to have confidence in the integrity of the Unity Party lawmakers and desist from making comments that are counterproductive to the party. The Ministry of National Defense, through the Armed Forces of Liberia, has provided 70,000 United States dollars covering final compensation to the bereaved family of Usman Sharif. Sharif of the AFL met his timely death after three multiple attacks by Malian rebels while serving a UN peacekeeping mission in Mali. The late soldier's remains were flown into the country in a United Nations plane escorted by a delegation from Mali and has since been laid to rest. At the presentation of death benefit to the bereaved family Tuesday at the BDC, the AFL Chief of Staff Prince C. Johnson III said that life is priceless. Chief of Staff Johnson further described the fallen soldier as one who was passionate and had love for country. Speaking on behalf of the bereaved family, Bouakat Sharif lauded government through the Ministry of Defense and the Armed Forces of Liberia for standing with the family during the time of bereavement. Sharif added that even though their loved one died while serving peace mission in Mali, government did not leave them by the wayside. Meanwhile, Deputy Defense Minister for Administration Olandros Dixon, who expressed sympathy and empathy to the bereaved family, committed Liberia to foreign peace mission. And First Lady Yeahgar has pledged her commitment to working with the people of Nimad in fostering the agenda of young girls and women. First Lady Yeahgar further assured that she would do everything possible to also cater to the less fortunate people in the country. The First Lady made a comment in Ganta Nema County on Tuesday when she paid a visit for the first time in the county. For his part, Nema County Superintendent Dor Cooper commended First Lady Yeahgar for the visit to the county. Superintendent Cooper indicated that the people of Nema also stand ready to working with the First Lady. That's the news bulletin. It's back to Augustine Kollie for the continuation of Newsnet on OKFM.
Ferry Wholquoi Yeahgar returns at 6:45 with the foreign developments. You're listening to Newsnet on OKFM 99.5. This newscast is relayed on the voice of Hope in Plebo, Maryland County. Here are the top stories. President Yeahgar heeds the cries of Liberians, mandates reduction in tariffs of significant goods entering the country, warning to deal with dishonest people who attempt to profiteer. Eaters of Exxon deal money demanded to pay back or else. Initial investigative committee report recommends. Liberty Party's political leader Yombli Kanga Lawrence's husband, Representative Ella Lawrence, caught in the web again. Thrown out for inability to pay rent, dramatic scenes at Liberia Institute for Public Administration saw sheriff close entity upon court's order as staff and students washed in disbelief and shame. And away from Liberia, Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari would approve a new law to reduce age limits in political office, which could make it easier for younger candidates to run in next year's election. But that we take our first development. The plenary of the House of Representatives has mandated its leadership committee to work with the executive branch of government in the implementation of findings surrounding the Global Witness report. Recently, the international watchdog Global Witness accused some past and present officials of government who received bribes during the NOCAL arrangements. The decision of the House of Representatives followed a copy of the initial report of the Special Presidential Committee on the recent Global Witness allegations on the National Oil Company of Liberia by President George Weah to that body. The communication, read by the House's Chief Clerk Mildred Sion, suggested several recommendations, including the formation of an independent committee to ascertain why NOCAL, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Liquor Department, Ministry of Mines and Energy, among others, did not provide proper documents surrounding the happenings.
That a committee finds evidence to support the contention that Honorable Adolph A. Lawrence continued to retain ownership interest in BCP up to 2011. The committee cannot confirm that he did not hold any interest in BCP during his tenure as representative in the legislature and chairman on the House's Committee on Hydrocarbons. The committee recommends as follows: that an immediate independent investigation should be conducted to determine why the record section of NOCA, Ministry of Lands, Mines and Energy, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, specifically the legal department, and the Liberian Business Registry, which are by statute supposed to be the trusted repositories for public records, were unable to produce any record relating to the incorporation of BCP, Peppercoast, and COPL, and other documents pertaining to the award of concession license of LB13 to BCP. That immediately detailed forensic auditing of the NOCA be commissioned and executed before a new leadership is appointed to that corporation. The said audit should not be limited to simple accounting of the corporation's finances, but must also include an audit of the stewardship of the leadership of NOCA since its inception. 3. That each such member of the HDC who received bonus and honorarium after the Mobile agreement was signed and payment made to the government of Liberia restitute the said amount to the government of Liberia, and receipt of such payments published in a recognized daily newspaper within 15 calendar days from the date that this report is made a matter of public record. Failure to make the restitution as recommended, then the members should be charged and prosecuted for receiving unlawful reward under section 12.51 and 12.52 of our penal law.
The voice of Chief Clerk Mildred Sion reading the communication there from the plenary of the House of Representatives. But a 3-count motion by Representative Akaras Gray to have the House's Judiciary and Investment Committees probe the investigative aspect, while Representative Ada Lawrence comply with the restitution call, and that President Yeahgar further execute the other recommendations, was horribly reprised.
I move, if I could obtain a second, that on the basis of the recommendation, the portion 1 that has to do with comprehensive investigation, and another portion, if I'm not mistaken, 6 of 7 that has to do with the FIU investigating this matter within a specified period of time, that the committees on judiciary and the committee on investment look into those 2 aspects under the doctrine of oversight. That 2, that on the basis of the implication of one of our colleagues and with the recommendation by the committee that restitution should take place, I also move, if I can obtain a second, on that second point, that the leadership of the House of Representatives takes full responsibility and instruct our colleague to comply with the committee recommendation. And finally, if I can obtain a second, that the chief executive be communicated to that the immediate implementation of the recommendation is adhered to on the basis of the Braden report submitted to this body, if I can obtain a second.
Representative Gray, in his new motion, as requested for by House Speaker Dr. Buffer Chambers, called on the leadership to handle the matter.
So to our prolific movement, with all of the unreadinesses being made, which has diluted the motion, so I will allow you to please restate the motion.
Our distinguished Speaker, Deputy Speaker Kollie, as a result of intense consultation, I move, if I can obtain a second, that this report first and foremost be accepted, and that the leadership of the House of Representatives takes full responsibility by communicating to His Excellency George Yeahgar for the full implementation of this report, and that the House of Representatives closely monitor the implementation of the report, if I can obtain a second.
The voice of Montserrat County District 8 Representative Akaras Moses Gray. Several students and officials, including the Executive Director of the Liberian Institute of Public Administration, were on Tuesday thrown out of their offices on the order of the Dept Court of Liberia. LIPA, which is headed by former Montserrat County District 3 Representative Bill Twawi, owes over $100,000 to a Lebanese businessman as rental fee for the building currently occupied. The immediate closure of the Liberian Institute of Public Administration is stemmed on a ruling by the debt court in favor of a Lebanese businessman, which gives a 21-day ultimatum to LIBERIA to pay the amount of approximately $102,000 as rent fee. A reporter who visited the scene in Mamba Point disclosed that the court's action also paralyzed non-working authorities, adding that staffers and students were seen loitering around the vicinity of the institution. However, some staffers, including the executive director of LIBERIA, also criticized the court for being impatient with the institution.
Myself were in final ministry and left here, went from office to office so that they can get another thousand.
There's a $100,000 now.
That's the agreement here. Now, Rev, you had another thousand, Rev, you had another thousand. While running behind, they told you to go behind here. What about the baby with them for 21 days? For 21 days, I don't understand. So you shouldn't have, nobody should get outside. So they have to have
yeah, you know, let's get them on the fight. We talk to him. Now we pay, we don't get the money.
Yeah, so someone just need to call the judge, that's all. Let me ask the number. Well, he not to do someone for the middle just to call him, not to do his number. Normally when they do the kind of thing, they will not ask the phone number to just finish it. The way you have both for your whatever. Anyway, the whole content.
Some staffers, including the executive director of LIBERIA, there speaking at the closure of the office on Tuesday. The deputy chaplain at the House of Representatives, Reverend Alonso Duncan, has warned Liberia against granting citizenship to non-African descendants. Reverend Duncan, in his devotional reading to that August by the Tuesday, added that such was not timely for Liberia. According to him, for too long, the black color has been humiliated by other colors, especially the white. He added that Liberia's quest for development is not based on granting white citizenship.
Everywhere the black man travels, you will see racism being exercised on the black man. Even America that proclaims democracy, freedom, you have high racism against the blacks. You travel to the countries of the red, the black man is hated. You go China, you go India, you go Lebanon, you go Libya. The whites are there, but the blacks are incarcerated and ill-treated. And now people are opting for these three races to be citizens of Liberia for the sake of what the world called a global village. From my personal theological knowledge of peace, it is not expedient for Liberia now that white men should become citizens of this country, because white man does not like black men. All of the countries in Africa that white people are citizens, we see that the blacks are being humiliated because of their color. It's being attributed to Liberia that because white man is not citizen, that's why Liberia is underdeveloped. That is an illusion. I want us to have in the back of our minds, Liberia is not developed because of unpatriotism. Liberia is not developed because of corruption. Liberia is not developed because of bad governance. It is not because white man is not citizen of this country. If white man becomes citizen of our country, we will face enslavement. We will face degradation. For now, we see that our economy is in the hands of the white man, and you see what is going on now in our country. And so, I want us to look at the scripture that talks about citizenship. Let us focus on our citizenship in heaven.
Reverend Alonso Duncan is the deputy chaplain at the House of Representatives, warning Liberia against granting citizenship to non-African descendants in his devotional reading to that August body on Tuesday. House Speaker Dr. Buffer Chambers has acknowledged the constitutional breach surrounding the holding of two senatorial by-elections in Montserrat and Bon counties. Speaker Chambers' acknowledgement is in the wake of a communication from President George Weah to that body to reset a new date for the conduct of the elections not later than July 31 this year. The setting up of a new date follows the climax of the stipulated 90 days for the conduct of a by-election for a vacant seat following death, resignation, impeachment, and election to another post. It can be recalled Liberians during the 2017 representatives and presidential elections elected both Senators George Weah and Joe Howard Taylor as president and vice president, thus creating 2 vacancies in Montserrat and Bon counties, respectively. Amidst their election, pending the conduct of the senatorial by-elections, the national elections had initially complained about the lack of finance to hold the elections, thus requesting a new date by the legislature. But Speaker Chambers, in an acceptance speech of the president's request, added that it was a constitutional mandate for the legislature to act.
Thank you so much, distinguished colleagues. With the communication from the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Ambassador George Weah, requesting the legislature to exercise its constitutional conferred powers, Article 34I of the Liberian Constitution, to pass a resolution confirming the holding of the by-elections in Bon and Montserrat counties no later than July 31st, 2018. Unarguably, this House of Representatives empowered to inform the executive to do its work as we format a resolution for the execution of the election. So this is noted. In line with our responsibility, we are going to comply. So, Chief Clerk, since this has been a case, I think you were very preemptive, and this is a good thing that you have designed a resolution for this purpose. So we'll ask you to please read that resolution. Thank you, distinguished colleagues. It's our duty to uphold the Constitution, and it's in the spirit that this has happened. So whatever it is our constitutional obligation.
The voice of House Speaker Dr. Buffer Chambers. Meanwhile, Montserrat County District 10 Representative Yeahgar has called for an apology from President Weah for what he calls a violation of the law.
To stop this election will not go on. It's late.
But your colleague just cited Article 34 of the Constitution.
Well, it's late. What I can say here is that it's late. We are going to issue the writ. Let the Supreme Court interpret to us if it is right to do that. The president has violated the Constitution. He willingly, knowingly violated the Constitution. They fly to the Supreme Court, and we'll do that. We are going to do that off here.
Only the people can alter the law, and the people's representatives are...
Look, it's late. Any attempt for us to do that will be going against the Constitution. I'm not going to affect my signature to anything.
So how soon will you go to the Supreme Court?
This week, I'll be taking flight to the Supreme Court. We are going to issue the writ of prohibition to the Supreme Court to stop the whole election process.
All right, thank you.
Because it's late. The president knowingly violated the Constitution of this country, and he might account for it.
The voice of Montserrat County District 10 Representative Yeahgar in conversation with legislative reporters on Tuesday. Let's bring you a few batch of your comments you've left on our Facebook page last evening. Michael Think Positive Banda says, good morning, OK News team and the listening public across the globe. OKFM, the drastic reduction in wide range of commodities by the country giant worth commending, and I hope the business people cooperate accordingly so as to ease some tension on the suffering masses. And to the Commerce Ministry, please be vibrant in executing the mandate given you, because Liberian business people are very fast in increasing prices but act reluctant to reduce it when the need arises. Moreover, President Weah kindly do not leave any stone unturned concerning all those that were involved in the Exxon deal saga, as this is their first corruption test. And to close up, affirm the closing of LIBERIA in the name of failing to meet their rental obligations by the administration as shameful, disgraceful, and very embarrassing for that reputable learning institution. And marketing positive banner writes from his Elfie community there in District 9, Montserrat County. Walker Sam J. Florich says, good morning, OKFM. Many thanks to President Weah for the stance taken concerning the reduction of prices on basic commodities. I think this will help to ease the economic situations in our country. Young Ford Due says, bonjour, OKFM. James Naplaposo Fala says, let me commend President George Weah for hearing the cries of the business people as well as Liberians across the country for his decision to reduce tariffs. OKFM, I hope that this reduction wouldn't embarrass the revenue generation of Liberia. I know that President Weah wants to satisfy the Liberians because of the huge expectations they have developed, but let it be known that tariffs generated at the NPA help increase the revenue strength of Liberia. Again, bravo to the president. It's very shameful to hear that LIBERIA was thrown out of the building because of failing to pay rental fees. What happened to the graduation fees paid by students recently? Have they eaten the money? OKFM, I'm calling on President Weah to quickly intervene in such a disgraceful issue because students of LIBERIA need to go back to school. Lastly, I'm calling on the current administration of LIBERIA to manage whatever little that is given to them, as Liberia in our current time doesn't have money. And he writes from his slum community there right here in District 8. George Xavier Nangbu says, good morning OKFM and good morning to the peace-loving people of Liberia. I'm George Xavier Nangbu and I write from the most represented district in Montserrat County, District 11, parenthesis closes. Let me commend the president for his bold step taken to reduce tariffs on some major commodities. My only worry is whether these reductions are truly in line with the common external tariff we signed with ECOWAS and has the full responsibility to maintain its regulations. As it relates to other issues, it's so disgracing to hear that LIBERIA was thrown out for not paying rental fees. Why will Mr. Tuare treat himself this way? It was a complete disgrace to the students who had paid their hard-earned tuition. Let me use the medium to call on President Weah for his speedy intervention. To conclude, while will Representative Ada Lawrence always been involved with corruption saga, he and former Speaker Alex Tyler were caught in the web of corruption again. We need to take serious action against these guys that are paid with taxpayer funds and still stealing. Okay, let's come to Thomas Tamba Bondo. Bravo to the president and the LRA. Hope the common people will feel the impact of the reduction because the common people are the ones suffering. Jack Quaison says, let me commend the president for the huge tax cut on basic commodities. It is my hope that the Ministry of Commerce will vigorously enforce the reduction in the prices of these commodities on the Liberian market. And Desmond Cole, what a shame and disgrace to LIBERIA. Your own country, you're paying rent to Lebanese businessman. You can go Brave or somewhere else and construct building there for your institution. And so we will continue with more developments, locally. The opposition Unity Party has won lawmakers elected on the party ticket to avoid the compromise in the Act on Finance and Loan Agreement currently before the legislature. Speaking Tuesday on OKFM Morning Watch via mobile phone, the UP spokesman Mo Ali noted that any lawmaker from the Unity Party found shielding lapses within the loan agreement will be expelled immediately from the party. He said the Unity Party will not tolerate their lawmakers who were elected to serve in the interest of the people to do things that are counterproductive to their survival.
Firstly, I'd like to send out a word of caution to our UP representatives. If we investigate and find out that any UP representative is involved in asking 10% that loan money to pass that loan, trust me, we will expel you from the party and we wouldn't even care if we have representatives left or not. You need to uphold the integrity of that institution. That legislature should be there to serve as a check and balance to the executive branch. If you just concur with everything because you want to be asking for money, probably that's the reason why some representatives are saying the loan deal is good, that they are going to pass the loan deal. If you depending on 10% to pass it, we'll expel all of you from our party and we don't care. It doesn't matter. We want our party's integrity. We are tired of having lawmakers who will be passing deals that are shady simply because they want 10% or 20% of that money.
Mo Ali is the spokesman of the main opposition Unity Party. But in response, one of the Unity Party lawmakers, Francis Dopo of Electoral District 3, Refugee County, termed the UP spokesman a section as in the wrong direction.
Comment made by Mohamed Ali being a stalwart of the Unity Party is reckless.
That they will expel anyone who...
No, the comment is reckless. It's very reckless. You know what makes it reckless?
Makes it reckless?
Good. he's a stopper of a party. Okay, he's now causing a dark image, because if any of our lawmakers,
you send a caveat.
You don't send caveat in an irresponsible manner. Look, you should believe.
Even a unity party?
You should believe in your representative there and say that, as far as you're concerned, you don't think so, or you encourage
them not to do so.
But not to bring a threat to somebody there. It's reckless. Let me be real. We are running an institution. Okay, you don't threaten people. We are responsible people over there. If you have irresponsible before, I don't think we are. Now, I don't have any understanding about that. And as far as concerned, no member of the Unity Party have ever told me, and nobody have ever told me that there's the issue of lobbying for 10%. I don't know about that. And
Representative Francis Dopo responding to Muhammad Ali assertions on Tuesday. The Ministry of National Defense, through the Armed Forces of Liberia, has provided $70,000 United States covering fiscal compensation to the bereaved family of Usman Sharif. Sharif of the AFL met his untimely death after 3 multiple mortar attacks by Malian rebels while serving a UN peacekeeping mission in Mali. The late soldier's remains were flown into the country in a United Nations plane escorted by a delegation from Mali and has since been laid to rest. At the presentation of death benefit to the bereaved family Tuesday at the BTC, the AFL Chief of Staff, Prince Johnson III, said that life is priceless.
This served as a closure to the benefits, meaning we started with the Armed Forces of Liberia benefit last year, in which Inessa King, Fati, and the daughter received. We also did give the benefit from the insurance company which the Armed Forces is part of, and then Fati and the daughter also received a portion of the compulsory saving before we put a halt to the compulsory saving. Today marks the end of the numerous benefits to conclude the United Nations benefits. Next month, there's an award that our fallen hero will be receiving in New York for his contribution to peace. That will be in New York, and we are working on the modalities for her or our permanent mission to receive that award on her behalf. Today, like I said, conclude the benefit. It is important to note that life is priceless, meaning you can't pay back for somebody who served. But it is a way of his appreciation to this country and to the world at large. We can assure you, Fati and Fatima, that the Armed Forces of Liberia will always stand with you. They will be by you. Despite Usman is no more around. Whether we're assistant, anything you think we can do, please don't hesitate to contact us. Again, on behalf of the Commander-in-Chief, the Minister of Defense, I want to present this check of $70,000 to you as your husband benefit for all that he has done for this country.
The AFL Chief of Staff, Prince Johnson III. Speaking on behalf of the bereaved family, Yeahgar Sharif lauded government through the Ministry of National Defense and the Armed Forces of Liberia for standing with the family during the time of bereavement.
Today is another sad news for the family. You expect your child to bury you and do everything where you are now. But today we are here to receive benefit of our son. But that's the way of Almighty Allah. You can't change that. We want to extend our thanks and appreciation to the Liberian government and UN and the hierarchy of AFF. And from the day of the day we announced up to this time, those who all stood by us, we want to say thank you. We don't have much to say. General Johnson, on behalf of the entire family, we say thank you to your men.
That's the voice of Yeahgar Sharif. He's a member of the bereaved family. Meanwhile, Deputy Defense Minister for Administration Olandros Dixon, who expressed sympathy and empathy for the bereaved family, committed Liberia to foreign peace mission.
We all remember several years ago when our brothers from the South region and other international partners came during our crisis to make their own sacrifice. Now we have the Armed Forces of Liberia contributing to international peace. That's a manifestation, like I said, of how far we've come. On behalf of the Ministry of Defense and the Armed Forces of Liberia, we want to say again that You are within this family forever. We'll always be with you. We'll always provide you the support that you need.
The voice of Deputy Defense Minister for Administration, Olandros Dixon. First Lady Yeahgar has pledged her commitment to working with the people of Nimba and fostering the agenda of young girls and women. First Lady Yeahgar further assured that she would do everything possible to also cater to the less fortunate people in the country.
I want to do everything in my power to use whatever platform I have to empower them or to help them to move along with what they want to do in Liberia. So when I speak, I don't want them to feel that I don't support them. But one of the reasons I wanted to come to Nimba, I wanted to get to know the ladies better. I wanted to go in the villages. I wanted to go to the marketplace.
That's the voice of First Lady Yeahgar making the statement in Ganta, Nimba County on Tuesday when she paid a visit for the first time in that county. For his part, Nimba County Superintendent Dor Cooper commended First Lady Yeahgar for the visit to the
to extend my gratitude to God Christ for the Yeahgar or First Lady Diplomacy. I know Nimba people are always blessed. There are many countries that are participating in the Yeahgar of the First Lady in their hands. And Nimba County being one of the first countries in the world that Liberia to receive the First Lady, I think, is one of the greatest.
The voice of Nimba County Superintendent Dor Cooper. At this juncture, let's rejoin Terry Wholquoi Yeahgar to bring us the foreign news.
Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari will approve a new law to reduce age limits in political office, which could make it easier for younger candidates to run in next year's election. The move comes after intense pressure from youth groups, which pushed the government to adopt the legislation, saying they were politically marginalized. Last month, President Buhari said that he will run for a second term next year. The bill reduces the minimum age for presidential candidates from 40 to 35 and senators and state governors from 35 to 30. The minimum age for national and state assembly members will now become 25. He also reassured Nigerians during his speech of the administration's commitment to improving security and fighting Boko Haram. He also said corporates and their sponsors should be made to face the full weight or wrath of the law in reference to the clashes between farming communities and herders. And the family of a small boy dramatically rescued after dangling from a balcony in Paris, France, have expressed their thanks to the Malian man who saved him. He's truly a hero, the boy's grandmother said of Makran Mamoudou Gassamba, who scaled 4 floors to plunge the child from danger. The 4-year-old's father, who had left him in their flight and gone shopping, faces charges of failing to look after his child, reports say. The foreign news.
And that's how we take leave of you on this edition of News Net on OKFM 99.5. Just before leaving you, a reminder of our top stories. President Yeahgar heals the cries of Liberians, mandates reduction in tariffs of significant goods entering the country, warning to deal with dishonest people who attempt to profiteer. Eaters of Exxon deal money demanded to pay back or else. Initial investigative committee report recommends Liberty Party's political leader Yombli Kanga Lawrence's husband, Representative Ayla Lawrence, caught in the web again. Thrown out for inability to pay rent, dramatic scenes at Liberian Institute of Public Administration saw sheriff close entity upon court's order as starving students washed in disbelief and shame. And away from Liberia, Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari would approve a new law to reduce age limits in political office, which could make it easier for younger candidates to run in next year's election. Thanks to Terry Wholquoi Yeahgar, who was here with the news bulletin, and later brought you the international news. Eddie Poonen ably handled Order of the Sounds. The Voice of Hope in Plebo, Maryland County relayed this edition. For more news, you can log on to www.okfmlr.com/Facebook OKFM Liberia. Better still, 99.5 megahertz, or you download our application on Google Play Store and keep listening. My name is Augustine Kollie. Thanks for listening and watching.